Man, oh man. Ugh. I'm just like bathing myself in this. Just so you're all aware, on this monitor over here, I've got YouTube. Over here, I've got Instagram. In a minute, I'm going to take off all of my clothes and cover myself in 62% ethyl alcohol antimicrobial hand sanitizer, thus preventing myself from having COVID-19. I will also be doing a hand sanitizer enema before bed, as well as a hand sanitizer smoothie. No, I won't. Not at all. Not at all. I was thinking a lot today as my friends, my coworkers, our family, everybody, right? We're all doing it. We're all talking because it's kind of an unprecedented thing in our lifetime of what's happening, right? People selling this crap, which is not crap, it's useful. People selling what's really worth pennies for $10, $20, and people paying for it because they don't realize that good old-fashioned hot water and soap will keep them clean. Good old-fashioned hygiene, right? By the way, I'm going to be raising money after I'm just thinking about it to help all of the restaurants that are closed, and I will be doing a raffle for a private screening of me bathing in this. That is not a joke. Yes, it is. Check this out. I want to talk about this for a minute. I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to bitch at anybody. I'm going to give you some big brother love, and if you don't like it, that's okay. But I want to talk to you about it for a second. So, the title on this feed on YouTube is "Are we men or are we mice?" A lot of people attribute that phrase to something Shakespeare wrote. He didn't. Robert Burns, actually, I believe it was 1785. I've got a few notes here so I don't jack up the dates. But Robert Burns was out plowing. And while plowing, he tore up a mouse nest. And he thought to himself, the famous line that we know, right? The best laid schemes of mice and men. And he thought to himself, well, this group of mice, they got down into the ground, they dug, they drug all the stuff. If you've ever been moving a wood pile or doing anything out of doors and opened up a mouse nest or a squirrel nest or some other small rodent, you can see they work hard, man. They drag all that stuff. And, it's usually in the wintertime, like here in the north, we open up our wood pile to bring wood in and you find a mouse nest. And I always feel bad in the sense of they're going to die because the thing that they worked hard to build in the dead of winter, they're going to probably freeze to death. But best laid plans of mice and men. They work so hard, not realizing something far beyond their control. Me, in this case, a big human, reached up, grabbed a pile of wood, and just ripped their house to shreds. Well, Burns, running that plow in 1785, he was a Scottish farmer, watched that get tore up and thought to himself, that's pretty interesting. So John Steinbeck, fast forward into the future, Steinbeck, and I'm no literary expert, but I like certain things. Steinbeck said the quote that is often repeated over and over, our mind is the ultimate weapon, right? You can read that one. But Steinbeck wrote Of Mice and Men based on what Burns had written all those years before. And Of Mice and Men was written about two dudes during the Great Depression. There's been a movie made about it. Not like the book, read the book. But it was about some really hard times, man. America had the Dust Bowl going on. They had the Great Depression. The First World War had just ended. Prohibition. There was all kinds of turmoil. Things that, and this is where I'm going with this, are we mice or are we men? We have people freaking out, people making poor decisions. And here's the crux of what I want to tell you. If you are a man, then be one. Act like one. Don't sit and talk with your buddies about all the crazy things that might be happening. Instead, talk about what you can do. Take accounting of yourself. What do I have? My family's safe. I've got enough food and water, because you're a smart guy, hopefully, to take care of myself. Oh, well, Mick, did you hear that maybe the National Guard's going to get called out? Big deal. National Guardsmen are good kids doing their job. And if they're going to get called out, they're going to get called out to not come take your food away from you, but to stop people from taking your food. Oh, but that's against the law. Well, let's go back to what can you affect? So If you're a man or a woman, I don't care, but if you're an adult and you have people in your care and custody, you've got a few things that you can control right now, unless you're the president or the governor of your state. I don't care if you're a cop or anybody else. We're all subject to the Constitution in some way, shape, or form. Unless you have some super high level of authority, you have to kind of swallow some of the stuff coming out of the world right now. No pun intended. Like I'm going to swallow this for $50 on a private live stream later. We need to start injecting good, right? Fear begets fear, and courage begets courage. That's a righto thing. I wrote down, well, actually, I printed one of my very one of my very favorite quotes from the famous author, teacher, speaker, William James. William James said this, check it out. And I don't want to sound preachy, but I think these things are good when we think about them. William said, "It is our attitude at the beginning of a difficult task which more than anything else will affect its successful outcome." Shall I read it again? It's our attitude at the beginning of a difficult task, which more than anything else will affect its successful outcome. That's pretty cool, man. And he knew what he was talking about. And today I had a podcast with Max Michel, one of the winningest shooters in history. And you know, one of the things that Max said that I totally agree with, he said he doesn't deal with any negativity. He cuts it out of his life. Anybody that's not, and I'm not talking about stupid fairyland positivity. I'm talking about people that are not solution minded, are not oriented to creating progress. Cut them out of your freaking life. Who cares? You do not need to waste the energy. If you're wasting the energy talking with your friends about how bad this isn't bad at all. Go read what happened in America during World War II, during World War I. Let's go back a step farther to the Civil War. Every town that was in our nation had boys, kids killed, brothers versus brother. Excuse me, I'm spitting. We don't know that here. Yes, if you've been alive during Korea or Vietnam or the last 20 years on terror, you know somebody that's lost somebody. Not hundreds of thousands of people. Not at all what most of the world has seen and had to deal with. Go back a step further. Go back to the 56 men that signed their name to the Declaration. People act now as if everything should be proper and right. The earth owes you nothing. No government owes you anything. Our government that we conceived owes you safety, and that's about it. And that's really what the government's trying to do right now. And I don't even want to waste my breath or energy arguing what any governors or presidents are doing, because really this problem is exacerbated by fear. People full of fear. And unfortunately, most of the people that I know that are spreading rumors, calling me, emailing me, texting me about crap they read on the internet are dudes that are supposed to be big badasses. And in reality, they're scared to death. They're scared because it's not something they've ever had to deal with. Well, you know what? I say take it as like a really good opportunity to teach your kids about maybe having to be frugal with food and water. Take it as a opportunity to spend more time with your family. Take it as an opportunity to understand that life is not fair. Take it as an opportunity to explain to your kids that just because things are a certain way, they can change on a dime. Take it as an opportunity to dig deep inside of yourself and realize you can't control everything, and that's okay. Take it as an opportunity to pass on not fear, but courage to your neighbors. Hey, man, we're going to get through this together. It's not going to be a big deal. I got your back, and I know that you got mine. By the way, if you haven't already talked to your neighbors, tell them that you're going to take a look and make sure that you don't see anything funny around their house, and you're going to do this, or they're going to do the same for you. Take this as an opportunity to talk to your kids about stuff that maybe, or your wife or your loved ones or your buddies that maybe you haven't talked to them about before. Look, this virus isn't going to get us. We're going to be quite all right. What the problem is that when you have millions of people that are making decisions based on fear, scared people do scary things. I keep saying that. Scared people do scary things. And I'm not personally, I know a couple months from now, everybody's going to be A-okay. The problem is that we are Spending our energy getting spun up out of control. Are we mice or are we men? Are we digging down in the ground and not knowing that some plow is going to rip us up, or are you going to just take care of what's in front of you, man? This is way it's way that's your options. That's your options. Now look, hand sanitizer, it's good stuff. This stuff in fact kills 99.9% of germs. It did the same thing last month. It did the same thing a year ago. The world will go on. Don't waste your energy on conspiracy theories. A loved one told me the other day that was so 1970s of me to say. I don't give a shit. I have found in my travels, having worked in various levels of politics, everybody's conspiring for something by the true sense of the word. A political campaign is a conspiracy by the definition, right? Think about it. A bunch of people together in private, figuring out how they can get a lot of other people to their way of thinking. That's what a conspiracy is. We are conspiring together for an outcome. This right now, in a sense of the word, is a conspiracy. I am conspiring to help you relax. By the way, if you guys have massage oils at home, we're going to do a tutorial on special massage time later. Not for the kids. That was a joke. But honestly, if you truly are not a hypocrite, if you truly are the kind of guy or gal that truly believes in America and its ideals of hard work and self-reliance and taking care of your neighbor and taking care of your own shit and passing on good things to the world around you, quit the fear mongering, man. Quit writing the stupid shit on Facebook. Quit passing on the lies or the rumors. Quit feeding that. Go to sleep tonight and sleep well and realize let's take a mental accounting together. Let's go worst case scenario. Worst case scenario. Bunch of people get sick from this virus. Let's just say half America gets sick. Worst case scenario, it's still not nearly as bad as shit that our grandparents or great grandparents or great grandparents have seen. It's a pittance to that. World War I took hundreds of millions of people. Oh, what? Really? Huh. Anybody that's afraid of the National Guard needs to relax for a lot of reasons. Most of the people saying that, and if any of you are on here, I'll say it to your face, shut the hell up. Look, do you really think 22-year-old, 25-year-old guys want to leave home to go drive around in Humvees in neighborhoods to make sure people's garages aren't getting broken into? No, they don't want to do that. And if they do that, it's for your own good. You know, it's funny when people talk about, oh no, this is like the end of time stuff. Shut the hell up. Uh, I mean, it's just so stupid. What it is, if you use really good, simple logic and reason, one, it's science. Two, it's people covering their own ass because they don't want to be the ones that do nothing and have history bite them in the butt. And three, it's people, citizens, allowing fear to enter their heart and make decisions based on fear. Now, if you're one of those people that says anybody hoarding or buying things is an idiot, I don't think so. I always have enough for my family. Always. I'd be stupid not to. I hope you do too. But I'm not afraid that we're going to be out deer hunting in the backyard here in a few weeks so that I can eat. I'm not worried that I'm going to be making a spruce tea out of my trees. We're going to be okay. America is so rich. We have so much. There are warehouses full of food. Any of you that has a well, even if you don't have power, you still got water underneath you. It's not too hard to rig up a way to get water. And I'm talking worst case scenario. Best case scenario, weeks from now, life starts to go back to normal. But the truth is, it's probably going to take months, because something like this, when you take the machine that is the greatest nation on earth, the machine that is one of the freest, not one of the, that is the freest society on earth, that is the greatest economy on earth, and you start throwing a bunch of stuff into that machine, it's going to take time. You know, if you get a bunch of problems in that engine, it's going to take the mechanic time to get in there and fix it. And that's what we got going on right now. We got a bunch of problems in the engine. Big deal. We're going to fix it. Stop inducing fear. You know what? Your kids feel that. Your wife feels it. Your neighbors, whoever you're talking to feels it, and you pass it on. If that's you, don't send me your stupid BS Facebook post that some dill rod in his basement made with a bunch of lights around him, 2 microphones, multiple cameras. I'm just joking. There's so much conspiratorial garbage based in asshole opinions and not fact. Fact, not fact. Keep your not facts to yourself. I'm all about facts. Here's a fact. In 1785, Robert Burns wrote, "To a mouse turning up her nest with a plow." That was the name of that piece. That's a fact. He wrote that. The government's trying to use this scenario to enact martial law. By the way, folks, martial law is not spelled Marshall. That is a law enforcement official or a man with a cool name. Martial, as in warlike, Martial. If you're going to write snooty, assholey stuff all over the internet, at least spell check. Makes it really hard to take somebody's like rapid typey asshole comments when they can't even type or spell, especially when we have these devices. I mean, I have 2 devices in front of me right now that can look up how to spell words in any language. I can look up how to spell it right now. So if you're going to write asshole stuff on the internet, spell it right. That said, Gustavo, I believe you, and I agree with you. Go out and support mom and pop businesses. Mom and pop businesses. I've been a small business owner for years. That's what makes the country go around, but nothing stays the same. All of us enjoy Amazon. All of us enjoy buying things that are on sale. All of us enjoy paying the best ticket price for the airlines or renting a car cheap. We all want a deal. So this is what I'm saying. We are all guilty of saying, okay, well, I know that guy or gal's got a small business, but at the end, I got to keep as much money in my pocket as possible. You're not an internet asshole, some guy. You're not at all. Okay, the only problem is if too many people get sick at once, the hospitals will flood and won't be able to treat effectively, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, so I've got a lot of friends in the medical field. I'm not going to profess that I know anything. I've got a very low level of medical training in emergency medicine. People are going to get sick. People get sick every year. Here's the point that keeps coming up. This isn't some crazy weaponized virus. It's called COVID-19 for a reason. There's an 18, there's a 17. I'm not even trying to minimize the virus. I don't even want to waste the energy talking about what news assholes have been saying for days and days. People are going to get sick. You might already be sick. Oh my God, don't say that. I've already not been sleeping. I'm a mouse again. Fucking man up, dude. Fix my hair. It's hard to take somebody serious when their hair's a mess too. Man up. Be a freaking man. My grandfather, who I never met, he passed away long before I was born, was a Korean War vet. Check out this story. Not now, but another time, I will share the book with you. It's upstairs. But one of our family members was a Korean War POW. You guys, if you got a pencil, you can write this down. But at the Battle of the Chosin Reservoir, which was a horrible, devastating loss for American troops, the Chinese overran the Americans. It was like a horrible situation where these guys were trapped. It's freezing cold. So this is not like Vietnam where it's warm, steamy jungles. This was sub-zero temperatures. And the Americans were slaughtered. I mean, cut down, slaughtered. Remember the Chosin is the saying, the Chosin Reservoir. Many of the Americans that got cut down there ended up being taken as POWs. So the family member was taken as a POW, and this man came home, worked with my grandfather and family as a carpenter, And knew him through our childhood, and I never knew any of these stories till he wrote a book. And he wrote the book before he died, but he talks about his time as a POW. And during that very long time that he was held captive, he describes the horrible conditions, guys with ragged clothes in sub-zero conditions, just basically sleeping out in the open, freezing to death, covered in body lice. These guys were eating the lice off of each other to try to stay alive. It got to the point where they were eating each other. They would eat their dead comrades. This was pure survival at this point, pure survival. They began eating human flesh to stay alive. He came home and lived a life, man, raised a family. I'm sure, and you can't have ate your friends not making a joke and not thought about that constantly. But that dude came home and he worked every day and raised his family and lived to be an old man. My grandfather, on the other hand, did not have the same experience. He passed away as a young man. I'm older than my grandfather lived to be, but thankful for him that I get to be here, right? That is a fucking hardship. You had to eat your friends as you froze to death as a POW in a land far from home. That's pretty shitty. The kids are home from school for a few weeks and I might not get paid for a bit and might get behind on some bills. Sucks. Agreed. Sucks. But you didn't eat your friends to live. You dig? You know, people keep talking to me about the Spanish flu of 1918. Go read about the Spanish flu of 1918. We were burying bodies like cordwood, digging trenches and laying bodies. There were streets in every town of America with bodies in them. 50 million, something like that, died from Spanish influenza. And I know it didn't come from Spain. Some researchers think it came from Kansas. So read about zoological diseases. Those are diseases that start in an animal and transfer to a human. There's a lot of, that's what flus and this coronavirus, they think it came from a bat, right? Zoological diseases. This has been happening for all of time. Oh, the government created it. Well, this has been happening before the government existed. Mm-hmm. As for conspiracies, yesterday was the day over 2,000 years ago that Julius Caesar was stabbed 23 times by his Senate, right? They came up to talk to him and like, hey, what's up, dude? Sit. These guys had such an ill plan on how to do it. They were stabbing each other by mistake, but they killed his ass. Yes, I said kilt on purpose. Best laid plans of mice and men. This man at one side of Rome was building monuments to himself like he was God. Went to go do some government work and got stabbed 23 times to death, huh? What are you thinking about? What are you doing? What is the outcome that you desire? This is the same thing that we pass on in training. What's the goal? Why do we train with guns? Well, I don't know about you, but I do it besides the fact that it's fun and I like it. I do it because the gun on my hip is a tool that allows me to impose my will on others, in the sense of, if you try to hurt me, I will impose my will to win upon you and stop you from hurting me and mine. Not a game. That's pretty serious shit, right? That's why I train with guns, so that I can live. Why do I want to live though? Because I like living, because it's fun. I'm going to go have a meal with my wife. I'm going to have a cold beer. That's fun. I like that. We're going to come home and light a fire. We're going to, talk and laugh, maybe do adult stuff. Mm-hmm. And we enjoy that, especially adult stuff. I enjoy doing adult stuff. And that's cool. Why are we scared right now? Because we're afraid that our way of life, our happiness might be changing. So what's the goal? Preserve that, take care of that, understand. And this is probably one of the best lessons some of you and me will have in our lifetime. Life's not fair, man. My mom said that every day. So as such, learn to live through the vicissitudes of life. Good word for the day, vicissitudes. Look that one up. The ebb and flow of life, the rise and fall. That shit's going to happen. Your knees are going to get old on you. Your hips are going to get old. Better learn to deal with things now when highly capable versus when you don't have those capabilities. What is the goal? The goal is to live a long, full life. As such, things that are outside of your control, outside of your purview, rather than lose your shit over it, rather than cry and moan and be a mouse, be a man about it. What can I do? Take an account of yourself. Take stock of yourself, for God's sake. Get a chalkboard or a marker board. What do I have? I'm healthy. I've got a roof over my head. I've got plenty of food, water. I've got the means to protect my family. I've got fuel in my truck. I've got good communication with friends. What else do I have? I've got family around me as support. I can work from home. I can't work from home. Take an accountant. What do you have? What don't you have? What don't you have do you really not need and is just a want, right? Not a need. So that's the fun thing. I told some people the other day in a live feed that we did, a loved one of mine told me about another loved one being upset because said loved one couldn't get Oreo cookies. Well, I'll bring it up again. He couldn't have Oreo cookies. The man I just told you about had to eat his fucking friends to live. That's not a hardship. Not having Oreo cookies because the store is sold out is not a hardship. Man the fuck up. If you don't like that I'm using vulgarity, just get out of this channel. Don't waste your time typing. I don't care. This is how I speak. If you don't like it, there's some international hand signal for fuck off. So I start to get a little heated sometimes, and I get a little heated because I'm passionate about that which I believe. It is too easy to just think back to the impetus of our great nation. Take your racist ideologies, take your conspiratorial bullshit, and think about this. The people that founded this nation 1600s on hewed it out of a frontier. On top of that, they decided under what now we deem to be tyranny. Somebody told me I can't have a suppressor. That's tyranny. Yeah, it is a little bit. But that ain't what these dudes had to deal with. Go read about how Fort Ticonderoga was taken. Read tonight, if you've got a mind to, about how Fort Ticonderoga was taken. Read about how men in the dead of winter traveled hundreds of miles through roadless mountain terrain, forests, with ox and donkey to a fort that they didn't know what they were going to find when they got there. They then took the fort, which history said wasn't much of a fight. The British, they were like, fuck it. And they took it. And then they took tons and tons and tons of cannons, not an exaggeration, cannons, which they promptly, after taking that fort, which took them days and days and days of crossing the frontier, there was no roads. They're having to fell trees so they could get their carts and shit through the woods to get up to Fort Ticonderoga. That's on the New York-Vermont border. Then they turned around and took that shit all the way back. Look on a map from where Fort Ticonderoga is to Boston. And they drug that shit all the way back to Boston. And when they got there, Boston was besieged by the British. What do you think they did? All right, guys, we're just going to take a little nap here. We've had like a long walk the last few weeks. We lost some dude to like frostbite, gangrene, and shit. There was some Indian attacks. No, they stood the fucking cannons up and started bombing. And what did the British do? Pulled out. They saved Boston. My kids didn't get Oreo cookies. My kids are going to be out of school for a few weeks. Buck the fuck up. Are you a man or a mouse? That's up to you. If you listen to this and you're like, oh, this guy's angry. I'm not angry. I'm disgusted with the fact that we have fallen so far from what we think is who we are. If you identify yourself as an American, then spend your time, man. Spend your time reading about here's a good book, Patriots, the Men Who Started the American Revolution. That's a pretty good book. First page I open up to, Lake Champlain. That's where Fort Ticonderoga was, by the way. That's a great story. Read about men like where's another good one? The Federalist Papers. Yep, you can go for that one. You can go for where is it? Damn it, it's not up here. I don't have it. That makes me upset. It's upstairs. Here's a good start. Patriots, the Men Who Started the American Revolution, and the Federalist Papers. Go after the anti-Federalist Papers as well. I talk about that all the time. Ooh, that's a good one, Les. Dudes, we don't really know suffering. We don't know trials. We don't know hardships. Some of you may. Some of you are like, you don't know what I've seen. That's true. But even my friends that have very high level operational experience didn't see what went on in World War I in the trenches with millions dead, corpses rotting, dudes literally sleeping for weeks next to rotting corpses because there was nowhere to put them. Because if they stuck their head up out of the hole to go do something, they too would become a corpse. None of us alive have had to see or do these things. And we complain because our kids don't have Oreos, because our restaurant might get shut down. Look, I'm not suggesting that the way government, who by the way we elected, every one of you and me elected everybody you have. Fuck that, man. I didn't elect these people. Either through your action or your inaction, you put them in, right? So either you worked hard, like check it out, super fit guy, super fat guy, both of them earned their body. Same thing. You got a piece of shit governor, a piece of shit set of representatives, a piece of shit city council. That's you. That's you. Either through action or inaction, you created it. Period. Period. I've never eaten meat that didn't come wrapped in plastic. You know, that's heavy. You know, it's Los Angeles will need martial law come November. Maybe. Thank you for spelling martial correctly, as we just talked about. Um, so let's think about it. Let's think. If somebody needs martial law, why do they need it? They don't need it because the government. They need it because the citizens, we the people, are so degraded as a people with so little respect for themselves and each other that we need to call in the big guns to stop. You get it? William Land, your comments are off topic. Who are you talking to? I don't know what you're saying. I don't have. That's not what I'm here for. That's my point. That's where I wanted to go with this. Are you man? Are you a man? Or are you a mouse? Think about it, man. As you lay in bed tonight and you let your brain start to ponder, you start to think about you are the sum total of your thoughts. You are indeed the sum total of your thoughts. If you decided to school and become a doctor, if you decided to be a ditch digger, your thoughts led you there. Our feelings and our thoughts are intertwined and they develop into what is the outward expression of who we as a person are or is. That's you. You choose what to listen to, you choose what to view, you choose what to think. So if you and your buddies are going to have a circle jerk of tactical fuckery and be your little prepper buddies talking about how the government's doing some weaponized virus and it's all scary and bad, you are nothing more than a pawn in a game that you are describing. I don't subscribe to your game. Somebody the other day said we're pawns, and I contested, I am not a pawn. You are only a pawn in life if you choose to step onto the board and say, hey guys, my name's Mick, I'm a pawn. If you picked up our live feed the other day, I talked about this. You could step on that board and be like, I've got a little more self-respect. I am a knight. I am a bishop. I am a rook. I want to be the queen, motherfucker. You can even keep the king. I will be the queen. You know what I'm saying? Because the queen's the most powerful bitch on the board. And life is my game. Life is your game. You can play the game any way you choose. If you choose to be the pawn in somebody else's game, the key and important word there is choice. Choose. You do that. Americans have lost their way from these men, from 56 dudes who sat hiding under candlelight and lamplight, writing, planning. No satellite radio, no internet like this. For fuck's sake, the printing presses barely existed at this point. And they planned to overthrow an army that was in their country, run by the greatest, most powerful nation on the entire globe. 56 dudes sat and conspired with little help from many of their neighbors. Now, there's many misconceptions about that, and we don't need to go deep into it, but you're free for you to read all of this stuff and study about it. Honor those people. On my travels to the East Coast, anywhere I can, I find where they're buried. and I go say thank you. God damn it, we sit here and talk about Oreo cookies. But I like fresh milk. Well, then get a fucking cow. You want to milk me? Huh? Should we do a fundraiser? Who wants to milk Mickey? We'll do a GoFundMe. We'll do a GoFundMe, and the GoFundMe will be for waitresses and waiters and bus staff in Illinois, and we'll do a Milk Mickey marathon. I'm down. Sharon's upstairs waiting for me to take her to dinner, and she's probably thinking, this is what you were doing, offering to strangers to milk you. On that note, this is degraded a little bit. It's funny, from time to time, I'll get some very religious minded, which to me is fear minded people. They'll make some comments, man, some of the stuff you say is off the wall. Well, then don't listen. That's the problem that we have. You choose what to listen to. Are you men or mice? Courage begets courage and fear begets fear. If you want to hang out with negative people, hang out with them. You guys together will come up with all kinds of ways why you will not be successful now or in the future. If you want to hang out with winners, literally, if you choose to hang out with people that are winners, that think about winning, that plan on being winners, that do the things that winners do, I guarantee you, you will start to be more of a winner. It will rub off on you. The things that come out of your mouth, you will not want to say, because you realize this doesn't fit in with this group of people. And if it does, you're hanging out with losers that just don't know that they're losers. If you're really hanging out with winners, they're going to tell you eventually, yo, bro, cut it out or get the fuck out. That's what a winner will do. They'll help you a little bit and they'll tell you. But if you don't fix it, eventually they're going to say, pop smoke, dude. You don't fit here. We don't jive with you. You are meshing or not meshing with our gears. Easy. What's the goal? The goal is to not just survive today, but to continue. I hope you're exercising. Take this time. All of you that are working from home, you damn well know you're not working as hard as you should be. So do some push-ups, do some air squats, maybe clean the refrigerator out. Maybe also start running a few tactical plans around your house. What areas of concern around my property could be breached? This is serious talk now. And how many of those areas can I control at one time? If there's more than one area, if somebody really wants to get in your house to get what you have, how can you control the areas of ingress? That's how to get in. If it's just you, you may have to put yourself in a position where people have to come to you. If you've got more than one person in the house that can watch those points, talk about that now. Don't wait until you hear glass breaking in the middle of the night. That said, I don't really feel that we're going here, but these are always things that you should think about. We have that plan in our house. We've got like 3 plans. If this happens, do this. If this happens, do this. If this happens, do this. If you hear me scream, don't come in unless I say the safe word. I'm getting a lot of these jokes mixed into this very serious conversation. I might be the only person alive that in one live feed can talk about Patriots and the signers, as well as autoerotic asphyxiation with extension cords around one's throat in a closet with safe words. Man, this guy's crazy. A little bit. You know, some of the times I say these things, it's really just to shock people, get you to stop thinking so much, and maybe in some sense of the word, get you to fucking lighten up. Parting words. Instill courage, man. Instill courage into your kids, into the people that you talk to. Let them know we come from a bloodline of people that overthrew the most powerful nation on the globe. We're fine. Act like it. Act like that is your bloodline. Act like your driver's license says citizen of the United States. Act like your passport says you live here. Act like the flag that hangs on your balcony, hangs on your deck, is on the sleeve of all your shirts. Act like it is our stars and stripes. Act like it. Act like it. You know, people often, there's so many people in this community of I can freaking draw and shoot in under a second. At the end of the day, all of my bullshit and my rhetoric about government and freedom and liberty and the Second Amendment, it's all bullshit, because most of those people are the punks, the pussies, if I may, that are out spinning people up with fear. Oh, well, Mick, some of the signers, man, they got people spun up and then they did something. That's the difference. A bunch of loudmouth pussies. Oh, dude, I've got a lot of loaded magazines. Cool. Good for you. Good for you that you've got a lot of loaded magazines. Do your kids respect you because you've got a lot of loaded magazines? Are you a good dad? Are you? I hope so. Those things don't mean shit. You going to shoot a virus? I'm going back now. I don't want to go back. Courage begets courage. Fear begets fear. Cut it, man. If somebody calls you and says, "Hey, man, just want to check in. How you doing?" I'm doing good, man. Everybody's safe and sound. Doing some reading. I've got some good books. We got some firewood stacked up. I got a bottle of brown liquor I might have a little bit of. And yeah, life is sweet. Going to do some adult time stuff tonight. It's going to be awesome. Basically, every night's Friday night around here lately. Excuse me. Oh, well, they're gonna enact martial law. Not in my town because we're gonna keep law and order here. Yeah, and that's what you should do in your town. Not in my town. No need for the National Guard here because we, the people, are keeping law and order. Why do people need cops and soldiers on the street? It's because they can't maintain a sense of calm. Drive around, look in people's eyes. They look like scared kittens. It's because they don't know what their capabilities are. They don't know if they can survive without the world that they've always known, which is very sad, friends. It's very sad. It's not the world that our grandfathers and our great grandfathers and our great great grandfathers hewed out of the frontier. It's not. Sadly, most of the people alive today would be dead in a week in 1801 in the frontier of America. They'd be dead. They couldn't feed themselves. They couldn't make a fire. They couldn't build a shelter. You dig? They only have what they have because of the hard work of others. And that's okay, though. We subscribe to this world. So it's not an insult. We subscribe to this modern world. We like heat. We like air conditioning. We like rubber on the bottom of our shoes. We like not having to go kill every day to eat. It's cool. It makes for a soft life. Harden the fuck up. You going to be a man or you going to be a mouse? That's on you guys. Hit me up if you need me. If you send me shit about how scared you are or some bullcrap news article or some bullcrap Facebook conspiratory thing where it's like World News Truth Network, keep it because I delete that shit. I don't have time to read your fake news. I don't want to read your fear mongering. I did deadlifts last night and this morning. I'm feeling good and strong. I got a little mid upper back pain, but yeah, I'm using the downtime to exercise more. I'm also going to get to that adult time I talked about earlier, and I think you should too. Mickey with CarryTrainer.com. Till next time, be good. Don't be dickhead.